Good day, viewers. In today's video, we are going to be looking at the laws of indices. In our last video, we looked at the meaning of indices. We looked at index notation. So today, we are going to be looking at the laws of indices. If you are new to my channel, I'll be glad if you can please subscribe by pressing the bell icon so that you can be notified when I post new videos. So, the laws of indices. Now, what do we understand by the laws of indices? It's just like life in general, the laws of life. There are some laws you need to take in order to be in the right track. So, that's what we're going to be looking at now. We are going to be looking at some laws, and of which, if it is well applied to solve mathematics problems, I believe that with these laws, you can and should be able to solve problems relating to indices. So, we are going to be looking at the laws one after the other. The first law we are going to be looking at is the multiplication law. Now, let's cite an example. Let's say we have okay, now let's look at the first example that says 2 raised to the power of 3 times 2 raised to the power of 4. Now let me say this again. In my last video, I said that the big number here is called the base, while the small number up can be referred to as index or power. The small number up can be referred to as power or index. If you have more than this, like this now, it becomes indices. So now let's continue with our today's topic. Now, on a neutral ground, if I want to solve this, then I will say 2 raised to the power 3 means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 raised to the power 4 here means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That is 2 raised to the power 3 here means 2 is multiplied in 3 places. And 2 raised to the power 4 here means that what? 2 is multiplied in 4 places. Now, if I want to gather all my 2's together, then I think it will be, if I remove the brackets, it becomes 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Now, if I should count all the 2's here, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then it becomes 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I think I've omitted 1 times 2. Yes. So it becomes what? 2 raised to the power of 7. Now, I can as well say that 2 raised to the power 3 times 2 raised to the power 4 equals 2 raised to the power 3 plus 4, which is equal to 2 raised to the power 7. Now, this brings us to the first law of indices, which says that what? That a raised to the power m times a raised to the power n equals a raised to the power n plus n. Now let's look at this. As you can see, 2 raised to the power 3 times 2 raised to the power 4 gave us this as our final answer. And as well, I also brought this same question down here and I analyzed it by saying 2 raised to power 3 times 2 raised to power 4 equals 2 into raised to power 3 plus 4 equals to 2 raised to power 7. Now, the multiplication law states that when you have base, two equal base here, like these two and these two, with different powers, you pick one of the base here and you add the powers together. Let me say this again. The multiplication law tells us that when you have bases that are the same, like this, these two and these two, you pick one and you add the powers together. So I would like to call this, or let me put it like this. I will call this the shortcut. In fact, let me put it like this. The laws of indices is just like giving us or directing us or taking us to a kind of a short path in solving problems relating to indices. Why? Because on a neutral ground, if I were to solve this, I would have followed this long process. But the law here has made everything easier and short for us. So let's look at the first law. It says that what? When you have equal bases here and different powers, you can what? Pick one of the base here and what? Add the powers together. Now let's look at another example. Let's say we have 2 raised to power 3 times 3 raised to power 2 times 2 raised to power 4 times 3 raised to power 5. Now let's look at this. This, you can see the numbers are mixed up here. So in this case, what we are just going to do is we are going to arrange the numbers arrange the base. Let the base be equal accordingly. So if I want to start, I will say this is what, if I want to solve this, okay, sorry, then I will say this is what, 2 raised to power 3 times 2 raised to power 4 times 3 raised to power 2 times 3 raised to power 5. Now, I have arranged these bases here that were scattered. So from here, I will say this is what, 2 raised to power 3 plus 4 times 3 raised to power 2 plus 5. So which gives us what? 2 raised to power 7 times what? 3 raised to power 7. So we stop here because we have two bases here that are different. So now we move on to the next law, which is the division law. Now let's look at the division law. So let's say we have 2 raised to power 4 divided by 2 raised to power 3. Now let's look at this. Now, 2 raised to power, let's not forget that 2 raised to power 4 means multiplying 2 in 4 places divided by what? 2 times 2 times 2. Multiplying 2 in 3 places. Now, if I divide, then I will have 2 as my answer. But we can as well use another method by saying 2 raised to power 4 divided by 2 raised to power 3 equals 2 raised to power what? 4 minus 3, which is equal to 2 raised to power 1. And that is what equals to 2. Now, as you can see, this brings us to the division law, which states that if you have two bases here, equal bases to be precise, with different powers, it's the same as So it's the same as subtracting the powers to give us this answer. So we now conclude by uh, stating the second law, which states that a raised to power m divided by a raised to power n is the same thing as saying a raised to power m minus n. So I think we are following now. Now let's move on to the let's move on to the next law, which is the power law. Now let's look at an example here. Now let's look at this example. You can see this is 2 raised to power 2 in brackets, and it's also raised to the power 3. So how do we analyze this? Um, do we know that this is also the same as saying 2 raised to power 2 in 3 places? Let's look at it this way. I can as well say this is 2 raised to power 2 times 2 raised to power 2 times 2 raised to power 2. And going by the laws of indices, I can say this is what, they are of equal bases here. And I can as well say this is 2 raised to power 2, or let me put it like this. I can say this 2 raised to power 2 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So, and if I should count the 2's here, it gives me what? That is simple as saying 2 raised to power 6. And I can as well say 2 raised to power 2 equals what? 2 raised to power what? 2 times 3, which is equal to 2 raised to power 6. So what does this power law state? It tells us that if a number is raised to a certain power and the power is also raised to another certain power. Let me take this again. If a number is raised to a certain power and it's also raised to another certain power, then the two powers will, that is, they will be on the same page. Then in this situation, you can multiply the powers together. And this brings us to the third law that states that what? That a raised to power x into bracket y is something as saying what? A raised to power what? X, y. That is by multiplying x and y together. So if you can observe, you will see that this method looks like a long method, while the laws of indices is just making everything to be short and easy for us. So we can as well apply this in our mathematical problems. So um, in we stop here today by God's grace, and but before I end this I would like to give classwork, more or less like an assignment, and you can always put the answer in the comment section. Um, you can try this. Thank you and have a wonderful day.